everybody has had to deal with liars at least once or twice in their lives, if not many times, depending on the circumstances you grew up in. So today I want to help you guys out and teach you a couple of ways you can determine how someone is lying and what you could possibly do about it in that present situation where you're able to, maybe confront them, or maybe don't even do anything at all, maybe just wait it out. But anyway, the first step that you want to do when you're trying to discern if somebody's lying or not is listen to your gut instinct. I mean, from almost like an ancient perspective, we've always had the ability to deal with people who lie to us, right? And that's been built into us due to betrayal usually, because if you look historically, if somebody betrays somebody, that's the exact same thing as lying. And a lot of times, especially with tribes, people would do that with each other to try to gain a sort of leverage over one another. And that oftentimes meant that somebody wanted to join in and then they end up backstabbing them later on, right? Which today could be much more simplified and much less serious than something like that. But essentially, it's just been diluted down in modern times. So the first thing you want to do is listen to your gut instinct, because that has many, many, many years of proof and possibly evidence behind it, which can help you on a kind of like a first base if somebody is lying to you or not, right? If your gut instinct tells you no, then there's a very good chance that they actually are telling the truth and it just sounds odd. But if your gut instinct is obviously telling you yes, then we're going to go on to the next step. The next step would be to engage in a conversation which is similar to the topic, but let them control it, right? And the best way to let somebody control a conversation is through open body language and mainly listening, right? You are not going to be the person speaking or asking questions or trying to figure out every little detail. You're going to let them give out the details themselves, because most of the time, right, if you're leading a conversation, you're the one that's, talking a lot. You're going to be somebody who is giving away a lot of information, but they feel as if they're in control of doing that. That's what you want to get with somebody like who may be lying to you. So if you ask them an open-ended question that's kind of framed around whatever the topic is, right? Let's say you and someone you know, like a family member, has a joint bank account. And let's say that a lot of money's been withdrawn recently and you don't know why, and you feel like they're trying to hide it from you. We're going to take this scenario. I'm going to give you an open-ended question to solve this, right? So you approach the person, right? Maybe it's for something completely different. You guys are just hanging out, whatever. Hey, how's your day? You greet each other. Great. Life goes on. When you want to ask the question, you don't want to ask it in a way that's forceful or has a demeanor behind it. You kind of want to ask it in a way that it allows them to feel self-control over how they answer the question, right? A great example would be to start off the framework of the question of, how am I supposed to blank? If you ask a question like that, it shifts the perspective of the other person into you. And oftentimes, especially if you're dealing with somebody that's lying to you, they won't be able to discern the difference between how to keep the lie a secret from you and to be able to show you how to figure out whatever the situation is. So for the scenario I came up with, I would say, how am I supposed to know that the money coming out of the account isn't from you, right? If you ask a question like that, then they have to think into your perspective, and go, well, I mean, I can't really tell them that, you know what I mean? They get caught in that kind of pause, because if they're trying to lie to you and they're also trying to answer that question, that's not gonna give them the result that they want. And so you're gonna know if they're lying right on the spot, because they'll freeze up. like that. That's what you're looking for. You're never looking for whatever the response is. You're looking for the reaction, because the reaction is what's going to tell you the most. And so doing something like that not only confuses them, but it also just, they can't do anything about it. They're done for. You can't, like, there's no possible way that you can answer a type of question like that while lying. It's just not humanly possible. Like, otherwise you're just not answering the question, right? And if they ramble off and they go off some other answer, you can just go along with it, because you already know at that point, right? You don't have to get confrontational. That's usually a bad idea, because then that means they're going to despise you and later on probably do the same thing. So, and whatever the case may be, it's not just limited to like money factors or even relationship factors. It's just like literally anything. If you just ask them an open-ended question and you see them freeze up like that for, you know, longer than people usually do to think, then you know that something's up. And so now that you know to listen to your gut instinct and to look at the problem at hand and ask a question about it, not confrontationally, not in an aggressive manner, but just bring up that point as it naturally occurs. Now the third part is, well, do I proceed to kind of be more passive aggressive, or do I just let off? For most people, I would say for everybody, but there's some rare circumstances, I would say at that point you do not need to know anything more. You know your information, you're good to go. You don't need to try to listen to any of the fronts that they put on or any kind of responses that they give that may try to aggravate you. You have your answer right there, and that's it. But for the very small populace, which may have to actually increase their efforts for, maybe it's something more serious, right? That's usually where I'd say, okay, go for it. Then you can go and start trying to dissect the details of it. But you don't do so in a way that's attacking them. You just go, we'll go back to our example here. I'll just say, hey, you know what? Since I'm aware that you have probably taken the money for whatever use you may have, that's okay. Just next time, let me be aware of it so I can know for what purpose it is for. And if you feel that you can't hold yourself accountable for that large amount of money and that you are using it for something that you would regret doing in the future, then just simply, that's it. Like, you already know what to do for that, right? That encourages them to have self-accountability, which allows them to have power in their own decisions and what they do in the future. And it's not telling them, hey, I don't like you, you need to stop doing this now. It's telling them, hey, I understand maybe you have some weakness or some urge or some desire that you wish to do with this money. Okay, fine, or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, I just want you to try and make a different decision next time, because it'll benefit us both in the future. Something simple like that. It doesn't have to be confrontational. It doesn't have to be aggressive at all. It's just bringing up a point which allows them to have the self-control over their lives, which they probably want in the first place. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't already, could you like, subscribe, do those type of things? So that way my content get out to more people. I can provide more value for them. And if you found it really enjoyable, share it with somebody. Let them know that, hey, this guy made a cool video. Shit, I'll watch it too. But anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. I'm out.